Roger Federer believes winning a 20th Grand Slam would be special as it indicates the hard work and dedication he has put in after he beat Hyeon Chung to reach the Australian Open finals. 1:27, Melbourne, Australia. On the day before the start of the 2018 Australian Open, Roger Federer reached out to his 11.3 million Twitter followers with one of his random Photoshop requests. "Make me a superhero," is what he asked. And some of the responses, including Federer as Superman, were somewhat predictable. But his 21-year-old Hyeon Chung retired in the second Friday set after being overpowered by Federer. Throughout their brief match, there's one superhero who comes to mind for the best men's tennis player in history. Iron Man. Remember how the public and media went crazy celebrating the fact that Cal Ripken Jr. played 632 straight baseball games until ending the streak in 1998. Even Ripken would have to bow down to Federer, who, after watching an opponent 15 years his junior beg out of the biggest match of his life because of a blister, won 6-1, 5-2 and will face no. 6th seed Marin Cilic in Sunday's final. Editors picks Federer into Aussie final after Chung retires. Roger Federer will face Marin Cilic in Sunday's Australian Open final, aiming for a 20th Grand Slam title after Hyeon Chung retired from Friday's semi-final match in the second set. McEnroe's keys for both Halep and Wozniacki to win the Aussie Open. Simona Halep can win the Australian Open. So can Caroline Wozniacki. So who has the advantage? Patrick McEnroe has the inside scoop. Marin Cilic's run to the Australian Open final hardly a surprise. No one was talking about Marin Cilic, but that didn't matter. He served his way to the Australian Open final, and no one should be surprised if he wins the title. 2 related, make that another win for Federer, who has not lost to a player ranked as low as the No. 58 Chung at a Grand Slam since falling to 116th ranked Sergei Stakhovsky in the second round of Wimbledon in 2013. So, in the 338 matches Federer has played since turning pro in 1998, he has completed every single one. Just think about how amazing that is. Playing a sport in which he is constantly lunging and sprinting, playing through ankle tweaks and muscle aches and bad backs, pushing his body through intense heat and tough opponents. Federer has not only survived, but he's thrived to maintain his status as one of the top players in tennis today. He's the guy people showed up to see Friday. People paying top dollar in anticipation of a match against an up-and-coming talent in Chung. Earlier in the tournament, the South Korean took out Novak Djokovic. So, yes, this was one of those true enthralling generational battles. But fans didn't get to see Federer for too long. The crowd at Rod Laver Arena let out an audible gasp after Chung approached the chair umpire and waved his hand, signaling he was done. There was brief disappointment, but that dissipated quickly as most stood and applauded Federer, who will play for his second straight Australian Open championship and 20th Grand Slam title. On Sunday, Roger Federer has never, ever retired in his 388 matches on tour. EPA, Lucas Coach. Federer's not the quickest guy on tour. He's never been the fastest and definitely not the most buff. Did you see the guns on display by Rafael Nadal last week before he retired? In terms of being physically fit, yes, Federer has had his ailments. And, yes, he withdraws from the occasional tournament. But when he shows up, he finishes what he starts. His ability to play an entire career without ever quitting is one of the most remarkable feats in all of sports. So, he's due an occasional easy night. And Federer certainly wasn't apologizing for Friday's brief match. You do take the faster matches when you can because there's enough wear and tear on the body. Federer said, "There's enough tough matches throughout the season that when they happen, You take them. Quote, remember the Federer who came into last year's Australian Open? He was badly banged up. Hadn't played a tournament in 6 months. He told reporters then that he would have been happy to reach the 4th round. But his old man knees carried him to an exciting 5-set win over his biggest rival, Nadal. In the finals he became the oldest man to win a Grand Slam singles title in 45 years. After his match against Chung, Federer turned center court into somewhat of a confessional. He told the crowd that he went into last year thinking he would have been happy to win one more major. Quote, he won the 2017 Australian Open. He won Wimbledon as well. And now he's starting the new year with a chance to win the 2018 Australian Open. And in not dropping a single set, he hasn't shown any signs of slippage. In terms of tennis, I think I see things a bit different, Federer said. A bit more wiser to some extent. Maybe more laid back. Quote, Roger Federer beat Marin Cilic in straight sets to win Wimbledon last year. Paul Crock, AFP, Getty Images. Here's how he's become wiser. Federer said he battled mono when he fell to Djokovic in the 2008 Australian Open semi-finals. He would later say he would have been smart to have not played the event and allowed his body to rest and heal. The older, more rational Federer would have sat that one out. He's cut back on the number of tournaments he plays. Last year, he competed in only 12 and had one of the best seasons of his career in winning 7 of those events. That selective process has allowed him to excel when he gets on the grand stage at majors. I never thought I was going to play a bit of a lesser schedule, which actually is quite enjoyable. He admitted, I always thought, I'm just going to keep playing from January to November every single year, 20-something tournaments. But I was able to adapt to that. Maybe that's also one of the reasons why I'm still here. Quote, even if Chung had stayed healthy, it appeared Federer would have easily survived. The only lowlight for Federer came late in the first set when he completely whiffed on a forehand from the baseline. But he won 94% of his first serve points, won all 7 of his service games and breezed into the final. Unless you're 40-year-old Tom Brady, old athletes just don't have the level of athletic success that Federer is enjoying. Will Federer be playing into his 40s? That's probably doubtful. But at the moment, at 36, he appears incredibly sharp. The 14-year, 284-day age difference between Federer and Chung was the 4th largest in any Grand Slam semi-final in the Open era. In the previous 3, the young guy prevailed each time. Not so Friday night. Chung never had a chance. Mere mortals simply don't beat superheroes.